look at Allen Iverson, okay, does the way he approached the game help into his legacy of a basketball player? The fact that he braided his hair, the fact that he wore the clothes,
like the cultural impact is what you're saying.
The cultural impact. Does that help Allen Iverson's legacy when it comes to him as a basketball player? Because he is a Hall of Famer. So do we look at Allen Iverson and say this dude had changed the game? Is that something that he has on his resume when you're looking from a Hall of Fame basketball player? Give me the truth too.
Hall of Fame? No. And I'll tell you why. It reminds me of like Michael Vick in the NFL, where you have guys who are very, very different. They have these huge cultural impacts, but Allen Iverson has done enough on the court to be a Hall of Famer. I don't think I'm not asking that though. But I'm telling you,
does it contribute? Be real to yo.
No, I'm answering you. No, I don't think that contributes to him being a Hall of Famer. I don't think you have the people who are choosing Hall of Fame candidates be like, you know what? AI had them shoes. You know what I'm saying? He braided his hair. He was the first one really doing the fashion in the hallway. I don't think that goes into consideration. Not at least Hall of Fame.
I'm not
Socially,
talking about
it does.
The voters.
That's exactly what you're talking.
No, I'm talking about in the culture.
Does it make him talked about more?
In the black community, bro. Yeah. In the locker rooms, in the barbershop.
Socially, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Socially, yes, it does. Yes, but you talked about Hall of Fame. That's different than socially. Okay. That's all.
When we're talking about LeBron James and Michael Jordan, are we not talking about socially? I mean, these guys, they're going to both obviously be
I'm not throwing Michael Jordan's shoes into a GOAT conversation. Some people will do it. That doesn't affect me like that.
I about to say, I feel like some people definitely would.
That doesn't affect me like that.
Well, hey, dreaming how dreamers do. Most of my life feel like deja vu. Even when the pressure's on, I'm careful how I make my moves. Mamba mentality, I ain't come here to play to lose. Why would I play with you? But if you made me choose, I'ma go with me, you down to go with me. Of course it won't be perfect, it'll feel complete to say the least.
What's up, everyone? It's your girl Char back here with my guy Tio and my guy Mike.
We got episode 4, All Things Considered.
Tune in, like, and subscribe. Let us know where you're from. Holla at us.
Holla at us. Yes, I love that. Y'all heard what he said. Okay, so let's start off this week. There has been, in the last 48 hours, a lot of buzz going on in the NBA world. A lot of buzz. Y'all know we just had the NBA draft. Even if you didn't watch it, even if you may not be an NBA fan, you have seen this somewhere on your timeline. What am I talking about? Bronny James being drafted. Okay, I am a LeBron fan, right? I love the Mavericks, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm a Dallas girl. But LeBron, I have the original Cavs jerseys from when he first came. Like, I have followed him everywhere.
You need to hold on to that.
Yes. Cavs, Heat, Cavs, Lakers. Let's go. So I'm pretty excited about this. I think this is a cool history-making moment. I think it's just going to be so much fun. But there has been a lot of talk and criticism around this. So y'all tell me, how do y'all feel about Bronny being drafted?
Oh, man, I feel good. The thing about it is, Bronny, people got to realize Bronny is an All-American, okay? Mm-hmm. He made the McDonald's All-American game. He was a highly recruited. I believe he was about, top 20 coming out? Mm-hmm. The top 20 athlete coming out. Had just about every D1, Division I, program trying to get Bronny James on campus. Now, part of it is because his last name is James, but part of it is the kid can actually hoop. All right. Now, I've watched him many times. I watched him in high school. I watched him in college when he was at USC. Bronny, I feel, is he's a good complementary player. Okay. He plays the game the right way. I think personally his game translates to the NBA a lot better than in college. When you're in college, it's just score. But, Bronny is, pretty much an elite defender. Bronny's going to make the right pass the same way. You can kind of tell he has that LeBron James IQ, but at the same time, Bronny not real big on creating his own shot. are like being as aggressive on the scoring end. So I think that sometimes go against him, but I'm good with it. You know, I think we all expected, you know, him to get drafted, you know, where he got drafted at, and I'm fine with it.
Let's keep it a stack, bro. Let's really keep it a stack.
Here you go.
Because as far as him being drafted, from a storyline, a marketing standpoint, I love it. Legacy, like one of the coolest moments we've really seen in sports. From a competitive and athletic standpoint, let's keep it a stack, bro. He not that guy.
Talk to me.
And the reason why I say that is you've never seen in the history for real somebody who didn't dominate high school. Some of the worst years of Sierra Canyon were when he was there. He didn't dominate college. Obviously, he had his heart issues and whatnot, and we're hoping everything's okay. I know about heart issues because things I've dealt with. But he didn't dominate any space in high school. He didn't dominate any space in college.
That's debatable.
He didn't dominate any space in college. You've never seen
high school not dominating high school. That's debatable.
Okay, but I'm saying
Bronny James had a pretty good high school.
Okay, career. But you've never seen somebody with what he did in college be successful in the NBA. Now I'm hoping, against all odds, I'm hoping he tears it up. You know what I'm saying? But the storyline, I love it. Athletically, you know, we know what it is when he got drafted. They had the cameras prepared for him. Like we know what we're watching, and I'm okay with it. But I'm not gonna act like I expect to see him doing a whole lot his first year in. I hope he proves me wrong. I don't expect it though.
I hope he proves you wrong.
But Bronny James is the thing. The thing about it is Bronny James got drafted 55.
Right.
Why is everybody acting like he was a top 10 draft pick? He got drafted 55. He went in the second round. When do people even talk this much in depth about NBA draft outside of the first round?
You know what it is.
Let's keep it a stack.
It's the hate.
When do we ever talk about the second round of the NBA draft?
It's the hate of LeBron James. That's the only reason this is a conversation.
Exactly.
Nobody even knows everybody who was drafted in front of him in the second round. That's not anybody's concern. It's the hate of LeBron James, and how can we use this to go against his legacy? Because that's what LeBron haters do, is like, what can we pick and choose from to make his legacy look worse? Oh, you're being unfair. You're putting your kid at an advantage and all these different things. So it's just the LeBron hate. That's why I said I love it as far as the legacy and storyline goes.
But you can't have it both ways, T.O., because you just said let's keep it a stack. Mm-hmm. You just said he wasn't that dude. Now you saying you love it. So which one is it?
I love it from a legacy standpoint. If he's not James Jr., he's not getting drafted. Let's be honest, bro. What are we talking about?
Okay, so since you feel that way, do you think it was fair? Like, do you think it was fair that he got drafted at this spot, that he went to the Lakers above someone else that might have gotten this spot, you know, had he not been LeBron James?
That would be an issue if he was drafted top 10, first overall, first round in general. That would be an issue. But like we said, it's the second round. Nobody really expects guys in the second round to pan out. Second round picks are truly mostly seen as not valuable. So was it fair? Not necessarily, but when do we even talk about things being fair in sports? Like, that's not the world that we live in. So I wouldn't call it fair, but it's not like this is something new. You know what I'm saying? We've seen family ties in the NBA that aren't considered fair, but we just kind of brush it over. But it's because it's LeBron James Jr., they're going to send some more hate on it. But it's not fair, but I'm okay with it.
Okay. Do you feel it's fair?
I feel it's fair. I feel it's fair. And I feel that, you know, when what you're talking about, we're getting into nepotism.
Yeah.
Right? We're getting into nepotism, and this is a racial conversation. It is. It's literally a black and a white conversation. And you know why it's a racial conversation? Because anytime, are black people not allowed to utilize nepotism? Are we just banned from nepotism? Because every single time I see black people that are taking advantage when they get themselves into position of power, and every time we use it, it goes against us. Yeah. And people don't like it. People they don't like to give people in the industry's children a real shot because that's such and such son or such and such daughter. Let's talk about it real quick. I have here pulled up. Let's talk about it. So nepotism right now. Bill Belichick and his son has been coaching for how many years when they was coaching? Over 15 years, he's been coaching. Nobody said anything about Bill Belichick and his son on the Patriots team. Let's talk about Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan. How did Kyle? Kyle is a good coach, but how did he get put on?
Right.
Mike.
No one's talking about that.
Yep.
Tillman Fertitta and his kids. No one's talking about that. Okay, you have here executive assistant to the owner, director of Fertitta Entertainment, director of Fertitta Entertainment. These are all under the same family. Let's talk about Buddy Ryan. Let's talk about Rex and Rob.
Yeah.
Who helped Rex Ryan and Rob Ryan?
Exactly.
Buddy Ryan. No one has anything to talk about it. I mean, the list can go on. So I'm sorry. Y'all can please miss me with that. Right now, LeBron is in the position of power. Finally, we don't have many black owners in the league right now. But we have a player that has the position of an owner, has a position of a general manager. You goddamn right. I'm getting my son on this damn team.
I mean, I
have no issues.
We're talking about it in what we see in the media and in sports. I saw it personally, even back when I was playing ball at Kansas and Charlie Weiss was my coach. Bro, his son was like 20 years old coaching out there, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something he worked for. He had his dad put him on. That's just how it goes normally. And it's not just sports. I see it in my career field now where you've got family ties and corporations putting their kids on to C-level positions and they just wait there until the dad passes away or retires or whatever the case may be. This happens all the time. Like this shouldn't be anything. This shouldn't be anything new or anything that people are surprised about or really upset about. You know what I'm saying? Nobody would be talking about the number 55 pick if it wasn't who he is.
You're right. You're right. So, and I feel like these people that they're putting in these positions, it's not that they're not qualified. There may be somebody that's more qualified. They are qualified. There may be somebody that's more qualified, but why would you not help your family out and train them, right?
Right.
But I feel like we said, when it's a racing, when it comes to other races, that's how people think about it.
Right.
Like, oh, he's just helping his son. And he did go to school.
Yeah.
He did do this, so it's fine. And that's the same with Bronny. He's played his whole life. He went to college and he played. So many players do this. There may be somebody that's more qualified, but he is qualified, right?
People can call it what they want, but I'm going to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
the whole reason, I won't say the whole reason, but if you ask, men who've made it to a certain position in their life, what they want to do, it is, I want to leave a legacy. Yeah. I want to provide for my family. There's these things that I want to do. So why would I be in position to do these things and opt out? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's actually something I wanted to talk to y'all about because we've seen some athletes come out and say, like, think of Shaq. And this is something that went viral, and it was funny when he said it, but I was kind of confused because he said, I tell my kids all the time, we not rich, I'm rich. And I get what he's saying, but it's like, dude, if you're in position to put your kids on, why would you not do it? And it's something that I feel like our community kind of struggles with a little bit. So we're talking about the idea of nepotism and how it's been going on for a long time. It's almost something that black people shy away from. Like there's this value of I got it out the mud or I did it on my own. I'm self-made, whatever the case may be. So we're the adults on this side of it where it's like, we're going to put our kids on. We're going to have our kids get a head start because that's really what nepotism is. It's a head start.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But then on the other side of this, those same kids that get that head start, they get made fun of in school. Like, oh, you got a silver spoon. Oh, you came from this part of town. We work our asses off to be in certain positions, to give them additional resources, live in certain cities. And then they go to school and they get made fun of for it. Then socially, they're not as accepted as somebody else who had a rougher situation and made it to that position. So there is two sides of that coin where we talk about nepotism, but there's this value in our community where people embrace the struggle. You get what I'm saying? Where people can really relate to that, whether it's music or entertainment or sports. People can really relate to that and feel like, I'm rooting for the underdog in this.
Yeah. What people gotta also remember or even notice is if you look at the NBA is changing. Where are the NBA getting a lot of their players from now? as opposed to before. Before, we had a lot of homegrown NBA players where we were recruiting, and drafting a lot of U.S. players locally here, but now there's a big push for overseas. Look at the top 5 picks in the NBA draft.
Yeah.
There's a big push for a lot of overseas players, and they're looking for players that are playing fundamentally sound basketball. They're looking for players that have an IQ level that, that's playing the game right. It seems like the NBA is making a push for players that are actually playing the game right. And people are not paying attention to that. We're getting a lot of overseas players that are now getting drafted into the NBA and coming into the NBA. And to be honest, when I look at Bronny fits that mold.
Yeah.
He does. He fits the mold. Bronny, to me, is your typical NBA player that they're trying to get back to.
Yeah.
Bronny is playing fundamentally sound basketball. He's going to play complementary basketball.
Yeah.
Look at the Lakers right now. They need depth coming off the bench. They need depth. They need those type of players that's going to make the right pass, hit the shot when they get it, get some pressure off some of the main guys. So I think if people kind of like just peel back on the layers of it and understand this is actually where the NBA is trying to head to, you know, and to double back on what you were saying earlier about, the whole, when black people are, favoring their kids or, their kids being picked on, things like that. I really don't think that one is necessarily a black issue. I think everybody deals with it. I feel like, when your dad's wealthy or rich, like the kid naturally is going to have to prove themselves. I think it can get tricky that's why I understand what Shaq is saying. Shaq is not saying that I'm not going to support you.
Right.
I don't think Shaq is saying that I'm just going to keep my kids out to dry. I'm not going to support them. I'm going to let them, What Shaq is saying is, I want you to grind the same way I did. I want you to go out, get that education. I want you to get yourself to the point where if this is what you're doing, come back to me with a plan. Now you are qualified to be able to do X, Y, and Z. You're not just doing it because I'm a call away and you know that I have the money to fund this. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's a big difference in it. And I actually am a proponent of there is balance to it, but no matter what I have, my kids will still learn work ethic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is daddy's money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to teach you how to go out there and get your own so that you don't have to rely on mine your whole time. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of see the opposite side of what you were talking about.
It kind of ties into what we talked about in episode 1 and episode 2 a little bit, when it's like, are we obligated to put people on? And I remember the point that we kind of all agreed upon was like, as long as they are qualified and they don't have the handout expecting you to do something, if they've put themselves in a position to learn whatever skill set is necessary to do the job, and they're not just kind of sitting back and waiting on it, that's okay. And obviously LeBron's son, as we mentioned, he went to the prestigious school. He went to USC and performed, maybe not at the athletic level he anticipated, but he was out there grinding, you know what I'm saying? Came back from a traumatic experience that was near death for a lot of people. So he's definitely worked himself up to be in that position. He wasn't just sitting around bumming after his heart experience or anything like that. So I agree with what you're saying.
Even in the NBA, the combine, like he was doing so great.
He could have skipped the combine.
Yeah.
He could have skipped the combine and be like, "Oh, Lakers gonna draft me. I'm cool." But he competed.
Yeah, he went and performed very well compared to the other ones. And so, I just to talk about too, when you do have that position of power and you are putting your kids on, but you're telling them they need to work. Sometimes it's even harder. Like it's harder for him because he knows he's always getting criticism that you are getting this because your dad, this and that, no matter how hard he works. So sometimes kids in those positions have a lot more pressure. Obviously if you come from nothing and it's different, like you do have to work and get everything on your own. But that doesn't take it away if the pressure and how hard it is if your parent already has that. That's a lot of weight to carry that you didn't even ask for.
Right.
You didn't ask for. It's not saying that you don't appreciate it, but you didn't ask for this. You were born, into this, that people are always going to compare you to your dad or say that you got this because of your dad, no matter how hard the work that you put in, you know?
Yeah.
So that has to be tough as well, you know?
Absolutely. And the crazy part about this is my experience. This is my life, literally.
Yeah.
You know, my older brother is literally a Texas high school Hall of Famer. He's a college football Hall of Famer. You know, first round draft pick. So I'm literally in this guy's shadows like my entire career of, you know, trying to get past that. Oh, you're just there because of him. Oh, you're just getting this because of him. People meet me even till today, you know, as much things that I do on the business side, business sector, there's people who don't know me very well that immediately the first thing is just like, oh yeah, your brother must have put you on. Oh yeah, your brother must have did this.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how people that really don't know you don't know the work that you put behind the scenes. When I remember when I was a high school athlete coming out, and you know, at the time, people that know UT coming out at that time, there was a lot of nepotism going on when it's like, if you have an older brother or an older sibling that's playing, naturally the younger one kind of, they call it the legacy scholarship.
Yeah.
You know, the legacy
package deal.
It's a package deal, you know, and naturally a lot of people, you know, take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So I remember like it was yesterday. I went in my head coach's office and I told him, I said, hey, coach, I need you to do me a favor, okay? See, we already went to different high schools, so I think this helps. I need you to not tell any college recruiter that Brian Orakpo is my brother, or said it like that, like it was yesterday. I remember like it was yesterday. He was like, he paused and he was like, okay. Because he understood.
It's a lot of self-awareness in high school.
He understood. This is me in high school. This is my junior year in high school.
Yeah.
It's me.
But people don't know that you said that. They don't know that you know, they don't know those things. It's the crazy. It's almost defeating at times.
When the you know, when the offers started coming in and I got my first, you know, FBS offer, you know, from Colorado State University, actually the school I ended up going to, I ended up committing there, and my college coach, Scott Brown was the head coach, was a recruiter at the time. Coach Brown called me and was like, Mike, why in the hell did you not tell me, you know? And it was just like, you know, so it was really love knowing that these people genuinely was recruiting me for me. And that meant a lot to me. So I just wanted it to be about the talent.
So this is interesting because this kind of goes back to the point that I was making where you're in high school saying this, and there's almost this sense of shame of I'm getting this advantage because my older brother or my dad or whoever put me on. So as I mentioned, you don't want people to know this.
Yeah.
It's almost a sense of shame. So it's like
You're right.
There's that value that we mentally have placed on the struggle, getting it out the mud, doing it on our own, not needing anybody's help. And the original question is, are black people disqualified from nepotism? And I'm going to rephrase that and say, do black people shy away from it?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? That's where we're starting to see people not wanting to be seen as having a silver spoon or anything like that. So it is interesting how this comes full circle with the story that you tell, because it's that sense of guilt or that sense of shame where we don't want to be perceived like that. And people have been doing it forever.
I know.
So
and you know
sorry, Char, let me ask this question before, just to follow. Let me ask you a question then. In non-sports.
That's what I was getting to. Yeah.
So in non-sports, do you think it's the same way?
No.
Like, do you think it's like that in non-sports? Because we're talking about this from a sport aspect, right? And we're talking about our community, and we're typically nepotism with black folks is happening with sports, is from what we're talking about.
Sure.
But if we go on the non-sports side, what do you think about that?
Bro, non-sports, I'm still okay with this. Any of my LLCs, like I said, this is a head start. Putting your kid in position to be successful. My kid's going to be an employee. They're going to be able to get income. Yeah. They're going to be able to start building credit history at an early age, as opposed to not knowing shit about credit, and then you 26, 27 years old, you got a fucked up credit score, not even knowing what it means. You get what I'm saying? My kid's credit score going to be A1 because I've helped them build that at an early age and gave them that head start. So in a non-sports world, it doesn't get talked about as much. but I'm okay with that. I'm gonna do the same thing as long as I'm in a position to do it. Because you got to think of it, especially with our parents. Most of us kind of grew, our Nigerian parents came here. We end up being middle class. It's funny. I think it was Dave Chappelle said a joke. He was like, my parents did well enough for us to be the brokest people in the neighborhood. And so I didn't struggle, thinking where I'm going to eat next or if I'm going to have shelter over my house. But people around me definitely were doing better.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And now that I'm going to be in a position to where my kids' experience is not going to be that, I'm going to make sure that they're taken care of. That's what we work hard for.
Yeah. I was going to say too, I mean, in corporate America, I feel like what is the big thing now? Networking. Yeah. Who you know.
Who you know. It's a who you know thing.
Yeah. I'm like, it's the same thing. It's who you know. It was even talked about for a while where it's like, a degree doesn't matter as much anymore as who you know. Mm-hmm. This person may have all these degrees, but you may be friends with the CEO or this person, they're going to pick you. So I'm like, why, when it comes to nepotism or you, like you said, you own the company, you're going to hire like your kids. It's the same thing. If I can get hired because my friend works there, why can I not get hired because my dad or my aunt or sister or somebody, as long as I'm qualified. It's not that you're not qualified, but it's just that is the corporate America world. So on the opposite side, there is no problem with that. People say that I'm going to networking events so I can meet people, so I can know somebody and have more opportunities.
Right.
So I'm just like, it's so crazy how it is on the outside of sports. Like, it's like not, that is okay thing. That's what we push people to do. Go out and be more social and meet more people in your, field so that you can have more opportunities. But then when it comes to like sports, we want to make this big deal about it,
And looking at on the other side of things, I definitely get why it's a tricky, I guess, situation. There's like it's a fine line also because looking on playing devil's advocate, one could say, is this considered daddy ball? A lot of people hate daddy ball. A lot of people don't like the fact that if, no one wants to see little league type of sports favoring your kid on higher levels, Imagine if you're on a college basketball team and the dad is coaching and the dad's coaching the son or the two sons and they're the ones starting when they don't have the athletic ability to match that. So it's that nepotism in that case, and what do we frown at that? I feel like most people would frown at that, but then what we're saying is they shouldn't. So it is a gray area when you get into sports, and that's kind of what I was getting to earlier, is just like at what point do we decide what's right and what's not right? Because we do know from a corporate standpoint, when you are networking, most of the time corporate-wise, when you're putting somebody on, they do have the qualifications.
Exactly.
It's just a matter of having the opportunity.
Exactly.
Yes.
In sports, it's like, how do we determine do these people have the qualifications?
Yeah.
It can get tricky if you're playing devil's advocate here and looking on the opposite side of this thing. That's a conversation to have as well.
Yeah.
When is enough?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we said, where he went, that pick, was it 55? I feel like it's all subjective at that point anyways. Like, one team may think this person is great for them, whereas another person may think, no, this doesn't fit. I don't think they deserve to be here. Like you said, if he would have went, okay, like in the top 10, all right, wait a minute. But at this point, it was like, like you said, he is a good fit for where they're moving and to come off the bench. So I feel like sometimes we know when someone, if he would have went top 10, no, this is crazy. But in other areas, like it's more of a subjective. If he fits the mold and it is great marketing for the team, he's not going to bring them down. And I feel like when you get in these areas, like you said, it's a hit or miss when you're in these draft picks in this 55 second round. You could end up getting somebody who ends up being a star. We could talk about like Dak Prescott. He wasn't in it, and then he ended up being the starting quarterback. He wasn't in first round. Or it could be someone that ends up being a flop.
Tom Brady was a sixth rounder here.
You're taking a chance either way when you go. And then so if I'm them, I'm thinking, why not take a chance that is, it kind of benefits them in a marketing aspect. And then LeBron James is his dad. So in a positive way, he has the best role model, mentor, someone that is going to work with him, knows the team, can let him know and work with him on the side exactly what we need you to be on this team, you know?
I think to answer my own question as well is like, when you looking on the daddy ball side, I think people start having an issue when these people are actually playing and they're in the starting lineups and they're getting significant play time. Like, nobody cares with Giannis' brother sitting on the end of the bench. Like, I don't think people have a problem with that. You know, I think
some people do. Some people do.
But are they the majority though? They're not the majority.
No matter if it keep Giannis happy, they don't give a damn.
Yeah, but most people don't care that Giannis' brother is on that team. Nobody really cares. And so from a daddy ball standpoint, I think where people have an issue with that is when your son or your kid is out there when they don't deserve to be. I think that's where it's not that they have an issue with them being on the team or getting drafted second round or whatever. I don't think that they should have an issue with that. Is this person getting significant playing time where they're not supposed to? He's playing ball right here, but he's turning the ball over and he's still out there. You know what I'm saying? I think that's where the issue lies.
Right.
And I feel like I don't foresee that happening. I don't think anybody foresees that happening. We don't foresee him starting or anything like that. You know, we don't foresee him getting unfair play time. I don't see it happening. And honestly, I think that LeBron will help, like you said, to an extent. He's not going to want his son to just be put out there and you're not doing well. Like, I think if you're not playing well, take him out. I don't think he's going to be upset about that. That I don't know him personally, but just as a competitor himself, you know, like, I feel like he would want it to be like fair at this point. Like, you need to work hard and get the minutes that you deserve type of situation.
So we'll see. I think we'll see. I think
time will tell for sure.
Time will tell for sure. But you know, from a skill standpoint, you know, to answer everybody's questions or whatever, the easiest thing to look at is ask yourself: were there other teams interested in Bronny James? There were plenty of other teams. Rich Paul sent a memo out. I mean, if your agent is sending a memo out. Rich Paul sent a memo out to NBA teams, literally telling them that Dallas Mavericks have already came out and said they was interested.
They were. I was so excited about it.
Is that because of Bronny, or is that because we can lure LeBron to Dallas or lure LeBron to wherever you draft their son? It was strategic. They were strategic with that.
Yeah, I think it was because
they were strategic with that. Let's be honest. Like, they knew if they drafted Bronny, they would be able to lure LeBron wherever they go,
because
and they create that storyline in that city as opposed to LA.
Yeah.
Let's be real, bro. Like, he's saying if another team drafts him, we're gonna send him to Australia to play overseas.
Yeah.
They constructed that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was strategic on their part. So we can say teams were interested, but to what point though?
There also is a level of Bronny can be on this team. There's still a level of that. These are real scouts. Like, scouts Stephen A was reporting on this. They were covering Bronny intensively during the combine. And there was multiple scouts, multiple personnel that was coming out saying really good things about Bronny. Really good things. And there was a lot of teams that was genuinely interested. Obviously, from a marketing standpoint, of course. I mean, come on now. You're talking about arguably the greatest player of all time that's still playing. Look at the ticket sales, brand, all of that. But outside of that, I feel like we cannot discredit how hard this kid has been working.
Right.
Bro, to have that spotlight on you in your entire life. He is more scrutinized than Bron was scrutinized in high school.
Yeah.
Bron was scrutinized when he got older. We have been watching Bronny James since he was a little infant, bro.
Being compared. Like,
man.
Yeah. They even compare him to his brother at times too, because now they're like, who's
better? I think Bron had
who's
more
this?
expectations.
Like, yeah.
Of course. I think he had more expectations. Scrutinized wise, and I'm not talking about now.
Even then, though, when he didn't win for like 7-8 years, he was definitely getting scrutinized.
Yeah.
More than Bronny James?
Absolutely more.
I don't know, man.
I feel like
more.
LeBron's conversation now, where will people scrutinize him and talking about him, is obviously like the GOAT conversation. People are hard.
But back then it was like, okay, he got to the finals and got swept.
Bro,
he can't win. He can't win. Then he goes to Miami. Oh, he needed D-Wade to win.
Yes,
Ray Allen said, bro, he's gotten
Yep.
scrutinized every step of his career,
He
bro.
has.
I promise you.
People are saying this is unfair.
Bro,
Why do you have these people?
how many times have we seen Bronny have a basketball game where people are telling you that he's not good? Where people are telling you, oh, he's just this, he's just that. It's just because that's his daddy. Da, 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 da. You can't even put out a highlight of him without him being screwed up. Bronny can have a video of him dunking the basketball. Just dunking the basketball, and in the comments, flooded.
Yeah.
Just how much they hate LeBron, also just because they feel like the guy is just being favored because of who his dad is. Bro, think about it from a kid aspect. This is a kid. You're in high school getting scrutinized this heavily. Come on, man.
That's why I said it's
I don't know,
it's
bro.
a
I
lot,
think
it's
he
a
getting
lot more
scrutinized a little
pressure.
bit more than LeBron.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. I'm gonna throw a fun question in here though, just a quick one before we wrap it up, just for you two. Do you feel like, because I've seen this floating around, do you feel like the fact that LeBron got his son on the same team as him, making history, does this add to his conversation of being the GOAT? Does this add to his status, GOAT status?
I don't think so. I think it's a cool storyline, and I love it for his family. I'm not adding this to any GOAT debates, which I'm not even gonna get into that. We're not gonna make this. We're not gonna make this a GOAT debate conversation. We're not going that direction.
Fun little question.
I don't think it adds to or takes away from it. The same way I don't think Jordan being a terrible owner takes away from his legacy as a GOAT. So to me, it's kind of irrelevant in that conversation. You're not changing nobody's mind. Nobody that perceived LeBron to be second or third best is going to say he's now the best because he was able to accomplish this and helping JJ Redick get the head coaching job. I don't think that changes anything, not for me at least.
Okay. What about you?
Okay, let me ask you this question. Can I ask you a question? Okay.
Go ahead, since you're not answering her.
Yeah,
I was like,
I'm going to segue into my answer, but I do want to ask you a question. It's going off of hers. When you still looking at basketball, when you look at Allen Iverson, okay, does the way he approached the game help into his legacy of a basketball player? The fact that he braided his hair, the fact that he wore the clothes,
like the cultural impact is what you're saying.
The cultural impact. Does that help Allen Iverson's legacy when it comes to him as a basketball player? Because he is a Hall of Famer. So do we look at Allen Iverson and say this dude had changed the game? Is that something that he has on his resume when you're looking from a Hall of Fame basketball player? Give me the truth too.
Hall of Fame? No. And I'll tell you why. It reminds me of like Michael Vick in the NFL, where you have guys who are very, very different. They have these huge cultural impacts, but Allen Iverson has done enough on the court to be a Hall of Famer. I don't think I'm not
asking that though.
But I'm telling you,
does it contribute? Be real to y'all.
No, I'm answering you. No, I don't think that contributes to him being a Hall of Famer. I don't think you have the people who are choosing Hall of Fame candidates be like, you know what? AI had them shoes. You know what I'm saying? He braided his hair. He was the first one really doing the fashion in the hallway. I don't think that goes into consideration. Not at least Hall of Fame.
I'm not
Socially,
talking
it
about
does.
The voters.
That's exactly what you're talking.
No, I'm talking about in the culture.
Does it make him talked about more?
In the black community, bro.
Yeah.
In the locker rooms, in the barbershop.
Socially, absolutely. That's what
I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Socially, yes, it does.
Yes,
but you talked about
Hall
of Fame. That's different than socially. Okay. That's all.
When we're talking about LeBron James and Michael Jordan, are we not talking about socially? I mean, these guys, they're gonna both obviously be Hall of Famers.
I'm not throwing Michael Jordan's shoes into a GOAT conversation. Some people will do it. That doesn't affect me like that.
I feel like some people definitely would.
That doesn't affect me like that.
Well, so let me
go ahead.
To my point, to answer your question, when you're talking about the greatest of all time, I think that there's more to it than just purely on court. And this is all aspects. When people talk about Michael Jackson, absolutely, the record sales, absolutely. But outside of music, the way his approach, how he dancing on the stage.
Yeah.
What he wears, like how he approaches everything, how he has people fainting at his concerts. We talk about that. That has nothing to do with music.
That's attributed to who he is. That's attributed to his music and how he performs.
Exactly. And the way Allen Iverson approaches the game is attributed to the culture and the impact he has. Mm-hmm. I think when you look at LeBron James, the same way we look at Michael Jordan, the same way we look at Michael Jackson, all the greats, Prince. When we talk about Prince, the first thing that people come on is what he wears, Purple Rain, how crazy he is. It is his legacy, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think you can dismiss that. I think when you look at LeBron James and you look at the way he's approached the game, everything the man touched has been gold. Almost every single thing. I absolutely think that the fact that he is able to play a fucking NBA game with his kid absolutely adds to his legacy.
So if you're a person,
his next son, they're already talking about that.
That's crazy.
Feel me?
Yeah.
So if you're a person that have Michael Jordan as the GOAT, LeBron does this take you over the top for LeBron? Does this move the needle?
That's a different conversation, but it adds to his legacy.
It's something that will be talked about.
It's something that will be talked about. It's something that is on his resume. Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Nice. All right. So y'all know we always end with a question for you, our fans, subscribers, viewers. Thank you so much. We appreciate y'all. So this week, it's going to be back to our original topic. That was just a little fun side piece. So I feel like we've all made our stance on this. I feel like all three of us feel like if we are in a position of power and we have, a family member, our own kids who are qualified, who have worked really hard, we're going to put them on it. We're going to give them the opportunity to be in a position where they can prove themselves and make a way for themselves as well. So we want to know, how about you? The question is, if you are in a position of power and wealth, would you put your qualified family member on or go for someone that has more experience?
Emphasis on qualified.
Emphasis on qualified. Yeah. Perfect. Alrighty, so let us know. Drop it in the comments. Again, my name is Char. This is my guy T.O. and this is my guy Mike.
All things considered, we out.
Peace.
Hey, dreaming how dreamers do. Most of my life feel like deja vu. Even when the pressure's on, I'm careful how I make my moves. Mamba mentality, I ain't come here to play to lose. Why would I play with you? But if you made me choose,